has been launched today. During Idul Fitri 2021, nationally, the average traffic of Indosat Ooredoo data service usage by customer increased by 10%. Good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Clara Antawijaya, and this is Market Headlines. Minister of Investment Bahlil Lahadalia said private vaccination scheme, which is known as Gotong Royong vaccine, can increase foreign and domestic investors' confidence so that investment realizations can go up along with the vaccination. Minister of Investment Bahlil Lahadalia assessed giving vaccines to workers through a private scheme that is initiated by Indonesia's Chamber of Commerce and Industry should be done sooner. According to Bahlil, this is a form of government's serious commitment in helping business sectors, thus it can support the national economy recovery. Because according to Bahlil, the biggest contributors of Indonesia's economic growth are consumptions and investment. So, the steps taken by Chamber of Commerce to facilitate private vaccinations should be appreciated.
Dengan vaksinasi ini, maka para investor, para pelaku usaha akan lebih percaya diri lagi untuk melakukan suatu perencanaan yang matang dan realisasi investasi yang pada akhirnya kemudian mampu menciptakan lapangan pekerjaan.
Betul.
Karena ending daripada investasi itu adalah bagaimana menciptakan lapangan pekerjaan, bagaimana meningkatkan pendapatan negara, dan karena itu tanggung jawab kita semua. Siap. Jadi saya terima kasih betul sama Kadin dan dunia usaha.
Bahlil also hopes with this vaccination, investors can be more confident in planning and realizing their investment. And at the end of the day, the investment realizations is creating jobs and increasing state income. Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel. Directorate General of Taxes recorded less companies propose tax holiday incentives. Within 3 years, there has been only 84 companies only that collect tax holiday. In the last 3 years, the Directorate General of Taxes, Ministry of Finance, has approved 84 taxpayers to obtain tax holiday facilities. A tax holiday is a government incentive program that offers a tax reductions or eliminations of businesses. The value from 2018 to early 2021 reached 1,263.96 trillion rupiah. Hestu Yoga Saksama has explained that after COVID-19 pandemic had entered Indonesia, there has been less tax holiday proposal received by the office.
Yang sudah mendapatkan persetujuan untuk memanfaatkan tax holiday sampai hari ini sudah 1.264 triliun. Dari tahun 2018, 19, nah kebetulan sebenarnya trennya sangat bagus di 2019, namun kemudian karena mungkin kondisi COVID membawa pengaruh terhadap minat investasi, tapi itu juga bukan hanya terjadi di Indonesia, tetapi di seluruh dunia. Nah ini agak menurun di 2020. Nah tentunya kita berharap bahwa dengan pemulihan kondisi setelah COVID-19 ini 2021 bisa lebih baik lagi.
Until March 2021, the investment value that has received tax holiday approval is only 2.16 trillion rupiah. This figure has decreased significantly compared to 2018 when the investment plan was recorded to reach 208.5 trillion rupiah. Then in 2019, the investment plan went up to 838.2 trillion rupiah. But however, in 2020, it went down to be 215.1 trillion rupiah. Jakarta, Rahajo Pakmo for IDX Channel. on a price monitoring survey in the first week of May 2021, Bank Indonesia predicts that inflation throughout May 2021 is expected to reach 0.15%. And this prediction is still in line with the range of central bank's target.
Bank Indonesia predicts inflation during May 2021 will reach 0.15%. These developments, the forecast for May 2021 inflation in the calendar year could reach 0.73% and 1.51% annually. On a monthly basis, Bank Indonesia sees the main contributors to inflation this month, namely the intercity transportation commodity by 0.11%, chicken meat 0.03%, orange and beef each up 0.02%. Governor of Bank Indonesia Peri Warjo previously revealed that the realization of inflation in May 2021 or the Eid holiday period and throughout this year will remain under control. Bank Indonesia also ensures that cooperation in controlling inflation will remain a priority.
Secara keseluruhan pada tahun 2021, inflasi diperkirakan akan tetap terkendali dalam sasaran yaitu 3% plus minus 1%. Kedepan, Bank Indonesia tetap berkomitmen menjaga stabilitas harga dan memperkuat koordinasi kebijakan dengan pemerintah, baik di tingkat pusat maupun daerah, melalui tim pengendalian inflasi, yaitu TPI dan TPID, guna mengendalikan inflasi IHK sesuai kisaran targetnya. Koordinasi dengan pemerintah tersebut juga termasuk untuk mengendalikan inflasi pada bulan Ramadan dan Hari Raya Idul Fitri.
In the survey, the central bank also estimates that several commodities will experience price decline or deflation. For example, the price of red chilies has decreased by 0.06% and red onions and eggs have decreased by 0.01%. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs and the e-commerce platform Shopee has closed the sale of 13 cross-border products following the government's decisions to ban 13 cross-border products from entering Indonesia. The director of Shopee Indonesia, Andika Yahya, said that as an e-commerce born and growing in Indonesia, his party is ready to collaborate with the government in advancing SMEs and local products. And currently, Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs, along with Shopee Indonesia, has closed the sale of 13 cross-border products following government's decisions to ban 13 cross-border products from entering Indonesia. And the 13 cross-border products that are prohibited include hijab, Muslim apparels, prayer equipment, batik, and kabaya. And on the other hand, Shopee has a very small cross-border sales compositions of 3%. With this policy, it is hoped that it will be able to reduce the cross-border products even smaller.
Kementerian Koperasi dan UKM dan Shopee, saya kira pihak Shopee sudah menutup akses masuk 13 jenis produk dari luar negeri. Jadi meliputi produk hijab, atasan muslim perempuan, bawahan muslim perempuan, dress muslim, atasan muslim pria, dan bawahan muslim pria, outwear muslim, mukena, pakaian muslim, ya, maksudnya pakaian muslim anak, aksesoris muslim, peralatan sholat, batik, dan kebaya. Ini potensinya cukup besar untuk penyelamatan produk UMKM, itu hampir 300 triliun per tahun.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Jadi kesulitan kalau mau putih rambut, mau perawatan rambut itu kan memang belum ada salon khusus muslimah. Ya udahlah, aku waktu itu optimis aja gitu kan, ya bismillah, karena ngelihat pasti banyak yang kayak aku yang kesulitan.
Kunci sukses dari seorang Ibu Yulia itu sebenarnya apa?
Aku pede aja deh bikin one stop service salon, itu dia cuma satu lantai gitu kan.
Benarkah tren transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut? Seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, adanya pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira brand hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri. Yang itu kira.
Pemerintah secara resmi melarang mudik lebaran pada tahun 2021 ini.
Larangan mudik akan dimulai pada tanggal 6 Mei sampai dengan 17 Mei 2021.
Majelis Ulama Indonesia memperbolehkan penggunaan vaksin COVID-19 untuk produk AstraZeneca pada saat ini.
Penggunaan vaksin COVID-19 produk AstraZeneca pada saat ini hukumnya dibolehkan.
Indeks harga saham gabungan bergerak fluktuatif.
Nilai tukar rupiah terhadap dolar Amerika Serikat sedikit mengalami apresiasi.
Bagaimana dengan target pertumbuhan ekonomi Indonesia di kuartal 1 tahun ini?
Sehingga pada kuartal 1 tahun 2021 diperkirakan ekonomi akan mengalami kontraksi, akan mengalami penurunan.
Faktor-faktor utama dalam penolakan dari Uni Eropa terkait produk sawit Indonesia.
Indonesia disebut belum mampu menerapkan standar lingkungan yang cukup dan juga standar keberlanjutan yang cukup.
Welcome back to Market Headline. For more than 1 year facing the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of countries have actually experienced an increase in cases. Most recently, Singapore even decided to impose a lockdown until June 13, 2021. At the same time, Malaysia and Taiwan reimposed tightening and restrictions on a number of activities.
For more than 1 year facing the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of countries have actually experienced an increase in cases, one of which is Singapore, even implementing a number of new rules related to the restrictions to reduce the rate of spread of COVID-19. This rule applies May 16th to June 13th. During that period, the restaurant only served takeaway and delivery. Work-from-home activities are again becoming the standard for offices. Another country, Malaysia, has also returned to a national lockdown through the Moment Control Order or MCO movement. The lockdown is in effect from May 12 to June 7, 2021. This is the third time after March 2020 and January 2021. Malaysia is now in the midst of the third wave of the coronavirus awakening. Under the MCO, all forms of social gatherings, including weddings and banquets, are prohibited. All educational institutions are closed. Eating in restaurants is not permitted, and one car can only accommodate 3 people, including the driver. At the same time, Taiwan decided to raise its alert level for COVID-19 in Taipei and New Taipei after 180 cases of local transmission were found in the country. The Taiwanese government decided to ban gatherings and close many public places for the next 2 weeks. From all sources for IDX Channel.
The restrictions or lockdown policy was reintroduced as an effort to prevent the transmissions of the higher cases of COVID-19. And this time, a number of Asian countries have implemented tightening and lockdowns after the discovery of additional new daily cases. 3 among these countries are Singapore, Malaysia, and Taiwan. So, how is this policy implemented? Let's cover it in the following infographic. So here it is, starting from how Singapore implies the lockdown mode. Through the next graphic, we can see that actually the main reason on why Singapore does this because the sudden surge in unlinked community transmitted cases carrying the deadly B1617 variant. And also on May 14th, the Health Ministry recorded highest number of new daily cases since January 30 with 52 new COVID-19 infections. And part of the lockdown rules is that work from home must be default mode for all staff and only 2 people allowed in group movement, and also indoor group activities should be postponed or cancelled, and this is applied for May 16 to June 13, 2021.
And yes, Singapore had been hailed as a success story in handling the COVID pandemic, but due to its low infections number. But several infections clusters popped up at hospitals and transport hubs, with unlinked cases surfacing in the community in late April. And this included a major cluster of 46 cases at Changi Airport Terminal 3, which prompted the local government to close Changi Airport's terminals and its Jewel shopping center to the public for 2 weeks. A mass swab testing of the airport workers and hospital staff is now underway. These new measures to stop the surge come just in 3 days after the Lawrence Wong, the head of the country's COVID task force, made a speech in front of the Singapore Parliament and said that Singapore was on a knife's edge where the COVID-19 transmissions within the community was concerned. From Singapore, we're shifting to Malaysia. How is the implementations of tightening movement there? Let's check to the next graphic. Here it is. We can see how Malaysia implements the lockdown, with the main reason is that to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the community and to prevent cases from rising sharply. And the country is battling the third wave of the COVID-19 infections as of May 17th, for the total cases hit around 474,000, with 1,947 deaths. And part of the movement control is that all forms of social gatherings are prohibited. Work from home, no more than 30% of the staff present in the office, and dine in at a restaurant is not allowed. And yes, Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin said that the government has decided to take stricter steps to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the community and to prevent the cases from rising sharply. And under the MCO, all forms of social gatherings, including weddings and banquets, are all prohibited. And the ban also implies on the cross-district and interstate travel, as well as social, sports, and educational activities. For information, Malaysia is currently battling a third wave of COVID-19 infections, with a total death until May 18th hit 1,947 people. Meanwhile, a nationwide lockdown was first introduced in March last year, bringing the economic activities to a grinding halt. A daily loss of 2.4 billion ringgit Malaysia, or 585 million US dollar, was estimated. And the lockdown was gradually eased and almost all economic sectors were allowed to resume, with localized measures implemented in areas with a spike in cases. And not only Singapore and Malaysia, Taiwan, which was also said to have successfully resisted the COVID-19 attack, has now decided to raise the level of vigilance. So let's check it into the next graphic. Here it is on how Taiwan strengthens national restrictions and measures against COVID-19 pandemic. Well, the main reason is that the increasing level of community transmissions that is shown by cases of unknown sources of infections. And the Central Epidemic Command Center, or CECC, raises pandemic alert level to the level of 3 of Taipei City and New Taipei City. And meanwhile, the restrictions and measures is about the closure of leisure and entertainment venue. Gathering over 5 people indoor and 10 people outdoors are suspended, and workplace should follow the epidemic prevention rules. After not requiring the use of masks, these items have now returned to be mandatory during the lockdown, and especially in the city of Taipei, which has the most cases of COVID-19. The Corona Alert status in Taiwan has also risen to level 3, and level 3 is warning before Taiwan's national lockdown. And previously, Taiwan was said to be a country that survived the Corona pandemic, only recording 1,682 cases out of the total population of 23 million, with a total death of 12 cases. And this Taiwan's success in fighting the coronavirus is closely related to strict border controls on the arrival entrances, and a ban on the entry of foreign visitors, and the mandatory quarantine for all Taiwanese who have recently returned from abroad. And although a number of Asian countries are in distress, Indonesia seems to be able to control the pandemic. So what makes Indonesia seem immune from the surge in the corona cases? Let's cover it in the next graphic. So here it is. The question is, how about Indonesia? We can see the test given by the government of, for example, Malaysia. The Malaysia conducted tests around 330,000 tests per 1 million population. And if we compare to Singapore, Singapore conducts around 1,700,000 tests for 1 million populations. And then if we move on to Indonesia's data, Indonesia only conducted tests around 56,000 tests per 1 million population. And continuing the previous question, what makes Indonesia seem immune from the surge in the corona cases in the Southeast Asia region? It seems that it is related to the number of the tests. It must be admitted that the number of the tests in Indonesia is not as massive as in neighboring countries. The number of tests per 1 million populations of Indonesians is relatively low, and compared to the 5 Asian countries, even less than Cambodia. When the number of the tests is low, it is not surprising that are also few cases found. And therefore, the Indonesian people should not be complacent, especially in the midst of pandemic that seems under control, where it should be noted that the data is obtained from a relatively small number of tests compared to the other countries. And on the ground, it could be a more worrying situation. And therefore, the government is obliged to boost testing, tracing, treatment plus vaccinations. And the public is also obliged to continue to adhere the health protocol by wearing masks, maintaining distance, and washing hands with soap. And yes, viewers, hopefully all countries are able to do their best in handling the pandemic. And of course, hopefully the pandemic will end soon. And stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Saham properti yang sebelumnya sempat mengalami pelemahan, hari ini beberapa sahamnya kompak mengalami penguatan yang cukup signifikan. Dengan memanfaatkan momentum penguatan ini, rawan profit taking juga tidak Bu untuk properti?
Welcome back to Market Headlines. So viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 5,826.5, and then approaching the closing time in the first session, the index was on the level of 5,790.37. And the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at the level of 5,843.39. In short, JCI went up 0.01%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got industry that went up 2.58%. We got energy that went up 0.98%. Meanwhile, finance went down 1.03%, and health sector went down 0.49%. And moving on to the top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got KOTA that went up 1.45%. We got ANTM that went up 3.59%. We got MLPL that went up 22.7%. And we got MPPA that went up 14.05%. And meantime, for the top losers for today's trading sessions, we got PBCA that went down 1.69%. We got TLKM that went down 0.31%. We got Astra International that went down 0.48%. And Arto that went down 1.17%. And next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,264. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,268. In summary, rupiah went down 0.03%. During the Idul Fitr 2021, nationally, the average traffic of Indosat Ooredoo data service usage by customers increased by 10%.
Indosat Ooredoo's network managed to get through the long holiday of Eid al-Fitr well without any significant obstacles. Nationally, the average traffic of Indosat Ooredoo data service usage by customer increased by 10%. Highest increase occurred in some regions such as Aceh, Banten, West Java, Central Java, and East Java. The increase in data service traffic was driven by virtual gathering activities by utilizing digital telecommunications technology since homecoming was prohibited. As estimated, streaming services dominated the increase in service traffic. On the other hand, Indosat's average download speed of 9% faster than normal days. The quality of other basic telecommunication services such as telephone and SMS is maintained at the highest level. This is evidenced by the number of customer complaints that enter Indosat Ooredoo's call centers and digital service channels went down 37% during this Eid al-Fitr. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Step aside from market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on our current economic situation. Here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close on market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, the Trustworthy Economic Business and Capital Market Channel. Don't forget to always wear mask and public and keeping the safe physical distances and washing hands to break the chain of COVID-19 infections. I'm Lantai. Have a nice evening and stay safe.